Dollywood is one of the premier theme parks in the Southeast and the best attraction in the Smokies. This park is partially owned by Dolly Parton and it has expanded rapidly over the past decade, adding multiple major coasters, new themed lands, and a full-fledged hotel. But even with this explosive growth, the park has retained its distinct charm and feel. Find out everything you need to know about Dollywood in this review. While this park is in stable hands today, this park had a really weird history. The park originally opened in 1961 as Rebel Railroad. Guests could board the steam train now known as the Dollywood Express. Set during the Civil War period, guests would travel past Union soldiers, robbers, and Indians who would attack the train only to be protected by Confederate soldiers. In 1970, Art Modell, who owned the Cleveland Browns football team, purchased Rebel Railroad. Modell adjusted the theme of the park's signature attraction and renamed the park Gold Rush Junction. Modell also expanded the park's offerings beyond the train. In 1976, the park was purchased by Herschend, who named the park Silver Dollar City. The park received new themed areas and investment as the park improved in a similar manner to the chain's sister park in Missouri. Then in 1986, Dolly Parton, who grew up nearby, entered into a joint ownership with Herschend to operate this Tennessee park. This led to the place being renamed Dollywood, and the park's popularity has only grown over the years. Just look at how much has been added over the past decade as part of the park's $300 million expansion plan. First, you had America's first Balljar Map Yard Wing Coaster in 2012 and Wild Eagle for $20 million. You then had a hydromagnetic water coaster from Pro Slide in 2013 and River Rush for $6 million. You had a multi-launch family coaster in 2014 from Gerstlauer and Fire Chaser Express for $15 million. Then you had a 4-star hotel in the Dreammore Resort in 2015. You had the world's fastest wooden roller coaster in 2016 from Rocky Mountain Construction and Lightning Rod for $25 million. Then you had an expensive family area in 2019 with Wildwood Grove for $37 million. And more is coming as Dollywood is opening a new resort and another new roller coaster in the coming years. Dollywood is one of many attractions in Pigeon Forge. Located at the foot of the Smoky Mountains, this is one of the biggest tourist towns in the southeast. The town is littered with $15 mountain coasters, several museums and shows. But Dollywood has all those elements, and you have an entire day to do so. Therefore, despite how Dollywood is one of the priciest theme parks out there, I do think it's a much better value than most attractions in the Smokies. Single day tickets cost $84 as of 2022. You can add a second and third day for a far reduced price, although if you plan to visit a few times, you may want to invest in a season pass. Not only do you get some discounts within the park, but you also get parking included, which can save you $25 per visit. Dollywood's parking lot is long and narrow, so unless you're parked in the preferred lot, you are going to have a pretty long walk to the main entrance. It can take nearly 20 minutes to walk to the main entrance if you're in the back of the lot. Fortunately, there are plenty of trams available to bring you near the front gate. While Dollywood has grown immensely over the past decade, some of the park's infrastructure has not. This park has a surprisingly small entrance and some narrow pathways, particularly in the Timber Canyon and Craftsman's Valley sections of the park. This can make the park frustrating to navigate on a busy day, but on most days it gives the park an intimate feel. I love the look of this park. The park has 11 different areas themed at different historical periods in Tennessee and Dolly's life. The areas all have appropriate architecture and music. The entrance area is Show Street, and it continues into Adventures in Imagination. These areas have classical buildings and have an emphasis on shows. Jukebox Junction is a 1950s themed area, and I love the aesthetic. The faux neon lighting, music, and car-themed rides perfectly captures the feel of the decade. Rivertown Junction is a woodsy area highlighted by the Rapids ride. The village basically serves as a glorified train depot for the Dollywood Express, but it looks fine. Country Fair feels like an upscale carnival with its bevy of flat rides. This is a great section for kids, but I rarely visit it since the attractions aren't particularly unique and it's a dead end from the rest of the park. Owens Farm is a barnyard themed area atop the hill. Its location and limited traffic make it one of the quieter sections in the park. Timber Canyon is made to look like a working lumber town, and the rides perfectly capture that spirit. Wildwood Grove is the newest area. It is another dead end, but it is the best section for younger guests. I love how colorful this land is, However, it has a severe lack of shade, which is ironic given it's supposed to be a grove. Wilderness Pass is probably my least favorite area. If you're unfamiliar with this park's history, the park used to have dead ends by both Mystery Mine and Tennessee Tornado. Wilderness Pass completed the loop connecting these two areas, so it was a very functional land. It's another one without much shade. This has been an issue in the park's newer lands. It does have some fun coasters though. The star area is easily Craftsman's Valley. This area is incredible. It's populated with trade shops where you can watch blacksmithing and candle making, just to name a few. You wouldn't expect to see goods like this being produced at a theme park. You also have a series of quaint shops, a giant bird refuge, plenty of shade, and a few well-themed attractions. I could spend hours in this section soaking up all the atmosphere and details. This land is the heart and soul of Dollywood in my opinion. I covered all the lands, but you also have a scenic backdrop as the entire park is nestled in a wooded valley. Then in the distance, you have the Smoky Mountains, so the park's tallest attractions have some stunning views. This atmosphere is furthered by the awesome staff. Dollywood has some of the friendliest staff members of any theme park. The people are just so welcoming. They tend to be on the older side compared to most parks, and the workers tend to be more sociable. Moving on to the operational side, most of the coasters have assigned seating. Most operators are willing to accommodate row requests, but it isn't guaranteed. Lightning Rod's crew in 2022 was the most likely to deny row requests from what I saw because they are pushing to fill all available seats with a single rider line. And on that note, the single rider line is a godsend for Lightning Rod. It usually gets you on the ride faster than Time Saver. Ride crews dispatch vehicles at a good rate. However, you can still encounter lines here for two reasons. First, a few coasters do not have the best capacities, primarily the family ones. 2, the park likes to run just one train on Tennessee Tornado, Thunderhead, and Lightning Rod to reduce wear on the rides. Several coasters can get hour waits on busy days, so it may be worthwhile to invest in the Time Saver Skip the Line Pass. I strongly recommend the unlimited option over the standard one for the extra $20 to maximize your day. The cost of a Time Saver Unlimited in 2022 was raised to $80 to $85, but I thought it was still well worth it on a busy day. Some notes about the Time Saver. 1, they can often sell out. In the past, you used to be able to see how many were left on Dollywood's website, but they removed that feature. 2, if you want to buy one in advance, you must purchase it at least 24 hours per the website. From experience, it seems like you needed to purchase one before Dollywood closed the day prior to your visit or the system would lock you out. 3, there is a small reserve of Time Savers held for day of purchases. If you want to buy one, make sure you arrive at the park early and head there immediately. The stand is in the Adventures and Imagination section near the front of the park. If you don't have Time Saver, there is the Smart Touring Plan and the Safe Touring Plan. The smartest touring plan is to hightail it towards the lowest capacity coasters towards the back of the park first. You want to ride Mystery Mine first, and then ride Dragonflyer and Fire Chaser Express. I'm not sure the best order to hit the latter two, but they should both have minimal waits if you reach them within the first hour. You then want to complete the loop hitting Tennessee Tornado and the remaining coasters. If you want to hit the water rides on a hot day, those lines will die towards the end of the night. Lightning Rod tends to have the longest wait most days, and it is the closest coaster to the main entrance, so its line spikes just after opening, which is why I don't recommend going there first if you're following the Smart Touring Plan. The coaster's line tends to be shortest at the end of the day, and you also have the option to use the single rider line if the standby wait is still high. However, the safe plan is to start with Lightning Rod. This is one of the most unreliable coasters anywhere. It's a hassle to experience, but I think it's the world's best roller coaster. If Lightning Rod is operational, it's hard for me to recommend heading anywhere else at park opening. While you may have to wait longer on the other coasters, it would be more frustrating for me to find out Lightning Rod opened with the park only to break down later in the day. My biggest issue with Dollywood really is this ride's unreliability. Dollywood is an amazing park, but you cannot rely on their best attraction being open any given day. Sometimes this coaster has short breakdowns. Other times, it can be down for days or weeks at a time. It took me 4 separate visits to finally ride this coaster. I've had better luck in recent seasons, but on my first visit in 2022, it operated for just the final 8 minutes of the day. There are 2 other waits you need to factor into your Dollywood visits: food lines and shows. I'm guessing it was due to staffing shortages, but the park has had many food stands closed in 2021 and 2022, so the few that were open had massive lines spanning down the midway. I ended up eating outside the park because of this, which is a shame because the park is pretty good food. Aunt Granny's is my personal favorite option in the park. It's a solid all-you-can-eat buffet with some options you do not usually see in a theme park. Although, if you like this type of fare, I strongly recommend Mama's Farmhouse just down the road in Pigeon Forge. That's one of my favorite restaurants anywhere. The crowd favorite at Dollywood is easily the cinnamon bread. I detest sweets, but everyone I come with is addicted to this item. You can either purchase it at the bakery near the front of the park, or the grist mill. The other lines you'll encounter are for the shows on busy days. At most parks, you rarely have trouble getting into the shows. However, this is the main reason many people visit Dollywood. On a busy day, particularly around Christmas, it's prudent to queue up well in advance or else the theater will fill up. Time Saver can help out here as well because you can reserve seats in advance. I'm more of a ride person than a show person, but the production value on Dollywood shows are among the best of any theme park. Many have a focus on music, which is understandable. These are great options if you want to break midday from the heat in summer or the cold in winter. Moving on to the ride lineup, Dollywood has 9 different roller coasters. For many years, the lineup was good, but not great. However, Lightning Rod elevates this park into that next level. This RMC creation opened as the world's only launched and fastest wooden roller coaster. But 2/3 of the track was converted to steel for the 2021 season to address some structural issues and reliability concerns. While the ride's downtime is still a headache, the ride experience is perfection. The speed and pacing are elite. This ride doesn't have an inch of wasted track, and you haul start to finish. That uphill launch has some deceptive power to it. The main drop has some underrated airtime. The massive wave turn and far turnaround offer some funky and sustained sideways airtime. Then the ride turns into an ejector airtime machine. Each hill gets progressively stronger, culminating in the legendary quad down. That is one of the best sequences on any coaster. And this incredible layout takes place on a wooded hillside. The elements, visuals, and speed make this coaster a powerhouse, and you can hear me gush more about it in a separate review. Thunderhead is the park's true wooden roller coaster, and it's one of the better coasters from Great Coasters International. Dollywood gave the coaster a lot of retracking in recent years, so it's running quickly and smoothly. The twister layout has several nice pops of airtime, particularly into those turnarounds. Check out my review if you want to hear more. Wild Eagle is my favorite steel coaster there. Located on a hill in the center of the park, this coaster offers incredible views and sure looks imposing. This B&M wing coaster has a layout more reminiscent of a floorless coaster, but I love that airtime-filled first drop and the floaty inversions. This may be the weirdest wing coaster as I cover in a review, but it's still a good one. Another great looping coaster is Tennessee Tornado. This was the last Aero Mega Looper, and it rides much differently. Gone are the suspect transitions and cookie cutter elements. In are a super smooth ride and large loops. The Spyro loop has nice hang time, and the final 2 inversions deliver the positive Gs. Then you have that incredible first drop that tunnels through the mountain, loaded with airtime. Again, check out a review if you want to hear more. Mystery Mine is a polarizing roller coaster. This Gerstlauer Eurofighter has some of the best theming for a thrill coaster, and a wonderful finale with a strong beyond vertical plunge and hang time filled inversions. But the first half is filled with some jerky transitions that can cause discomfort. The park did modify the first half, but it did little to change the ride experience in my opinion. For family coasters, you have a strong trio. Fire Chaser Express is the best of the bunch. This Gerstlauer does a little bit of everything. It has 2 launches, some fun pops of airtime, and even a backward section. This is one of the best family coasters out there between the diverse layout, super low height limit, and theming. Dragonflyer is a super smooth Vekoma suspended coaster. Most of the ride consists of a graceful series of turns and helixes, but that first overbank feels like an inversion because of how steep and forceful it is. That element caught me off guard. Blazing Fury is a unique hybrid dark ride and roller coaster. It is an older dark ride past some quaint scenes of a town being impacted by a fire, but it does culminate in some punchy drops and it's just a charming experience. Finally, you have Whistlepunk Chaser for the littlest of guests. This Zamperla Kiddie Coaster is the standard gravity model, but it is a hit with kids and adult enthusiasts are welcome to get the credit as well. On that note, Dollywood has two areas with the majority of their kiddie rides. Country Fair and Wildwood Grove each have about a dozen rides, most suitable for kids. These are two of the larger family areas in any theme park, and I love how most rides can comfortably accommodate guests of all ages, so families can experience the attractions together. Then beyond these two lands, Dollywood brilliantly scatters playgrounds and active attractions throughout the park. These are great options to keep kids busy while the older guests ride the nearby roller coasters. This isn't the strongest park for flat rides though. Even the ones targeted for adults are mostly within the Wildwood Grove and Country Fair areas. I would have preferred these to be scattered more throughout the park. However, there are still two flats I recommend. First is Dropline. This fun-time drop tower offers spectacular views of the park and the Smokies, especially because it rotates on the ascent. Then the drop is strong too between the airtime and freefall sensation. Second is Barnstormer. This S&S Scream and Swing has a short cycle, but you get some sweet airtime, and it's fun rocketing through the barn. For water rides, you have two strong ones. Daredevil Falls is one of my favorite log flumes anywhere. Between the scenic setting and sizable final plunge, this ride should not be missed. And it is easy to miss though because it's barely visible from the midway and located in a dead end accessible by just a single path. Then Smoky Mountain River Rampage is a solid rapids ride. I've noticed the effects have been dialed back in recent years, but you still have a few rapids that send sizable splashes into the boat. And it's just a well-landscaped ride too. The park used to have even more water rides. The one I miss most is the Mountainside Slidewinder, which was a homemade water slide that went down the hill that had a lot of movement on the turns. If you want something more, you have the nearby Dollywood Splash Country Water Park. It's a separate ticket, but it's a really good water park. It's a lot more woodsy than other water parks out there, and I like the slide lineup too. The star is easily River Rush, which is one of the best pro slide water coasters out there. It has some great airtime. The one gap I'd like to see this park remedy is the dark ride department. Outside of Blazing Fury, Dollywood doesn't have any dark rides. There are plenty of attractions in inclement weather ranging from the trade shops, museums, and shows at least, but it would be nice to have a modern dark ride here to round out the ride lineup. The final ride of note is the Dollywood Express. This classic train ride is a nearly 20-minute long journey offering some nice views of the park and mountains. Two notes about experiencing this attraction. One, it runs every hour, and you want to line up at least a half hour in advance if you want to ensure a seat. Two, ride as far back as possible to avoid getting cinders in your eye. In the winter, Dollywood runs the amazing Smoky Mountain Christmas event. In November and December, the park is decked out with over 5 million lights. Add in the special holiday shows and the fact that most rides are available, and it is my favorite time to visit. You dodge the oppressive summer heat, and it's especially sweet for coaster lovers. The coasters all seem to run equally as well in the cold as summer, and it's the best time of year to get night rides on the park's coasters. Lightning Rod is the world's best night ride because you have zero light over the hill, and you have similarly dark settings on rides like Wild Eagle and Tennessee Tornado. If you visit in summer, you only have time for maybe 1 or 2 night rides per day. In winter, you have multiple hours of night rides. There are 2 downsides of visiting in winter though. 1, the park's great water rides are closed. 2, weather can cause an issue with ride availability. Dollywood will run any of their coasters in rain. However, the park can run into issues with low temperatures at the very start and end of the season. If it's over 40 degrees, everything will be open, but rides start to close as temperatures drop into the mid-30s. Dollywood has a page on their website stating the operating limits for each attraction, which is much appreciated. And my favorite thing on that page is knowing that Dropline can operate in temperatures as low as 5 degrees Fahrenheit. That's insane. Snow is another issue. It's rare for the park to close entirely, but a snowfall and frost can be problematic for the coasters, even days after the storm. The 1.5 wood coasters take longer to thaw, particularly Lightning Rod because it's built in a valley that sees less sunlight. How much time you'll need at Dollywood depends on your interests. If you only care about the coasters, 1 day should be sufficient. However, I recommend 2 if you plan to explore any of the craft shops or see any of the shows in addition to the rides. It also gives you 2 shots at Lightning Rod if the ride has a bad day. Plus, there's a lot worth experiencing in the surrounding area. You have a half dozen mountain coasters, some smaller amusements, miniature golf, and so much more. If you're looking for a hotel in the area, I have 2 recommendations. First, you have these cabins overlooking Dollywood atop the mountain. You can get good deals in these outside of peak summer season, and the views are incredible. There's nothing like sitting in a hot tub and seeing Dollywood down below. It's so serene. Second, there's Gatlinburg. While Pigeon Forge is a town you need to drive through, Gatlinburg is a highly walkable town, and the hotels help you out with parking over there. I haven't stayed at the Dreammore Resort. The hotel looks great and the included time saver is a nice perk, but I've always found the hotel a little too pricey relative to the perks it offers. So do I recommend Dollywood? Absolutely. This is an incredible theme park with something for everyone. This is a must for coaster enthusiasts because of Lightning Rod, but the other rides are pretty strong too. Then you have good food, shows, and theming to create a full and a unique experience. This is one of the best parks in the country, and it looks poised to keep improving based on how much investment this park continues to get. So those are my thoughts on Dollywood, one of the premier parks in the Herschend chain. What are your thoughts on this awesome theme park? Do you love this park as much as me? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.